with Japan, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Call the roll.
Albert.
Here.
Haslow.
Here.
Day.
Here.
Gurecki.
Here.
Toronto.
Here.
Warrenbeck. Bono.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Yes. Let's go to our mission statement. No. No. Oh, just-
The mission of the Herkimer County Industrial Development Agency is to deliver economic incentives to businesses and industries to diversify and strengthen Herkimer County's tax base and enhance community vitally by supporting job creation, business, industrial development, and community revitalization. We strive to develop the local economy in an organized, sustainable, and environmentally beneficial manner.
Let's go to the minutes. They're on pages 1 through 14. My tablet, they're after May 30th, June 26th, and I'm sorry, we're May 30th, board meeting, and May 26th, public hearing, and also another public hearing on June 26th. We'll do them individually. So we'll start off with the 30th, and need motion of stuff those. Gloria, second by Tim. Any discussion?
It's a weird question. If you weren't at the meeting, should you be making the motion or seconding the minutes? How can you clarify that what they were, unless you watched the live?
The answer to your question is you should not be voting on the sorry.
Because I stopped myself at another meeting and said, look, I can't second this. I was.
I'll second it. So John, so Gloria and John, correction.
Good point.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to point Tim out because he was supposed to be.
Well, I
on
did,
the
yeah.
show, but I just wanted-
Dance. All in favor, aye?
Right.
Any opposed, nay? Let's go to June 26th, Sundays, raising no public hearing, the motion there. And second. Darren, so I don't know. Any discussion? In favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay? Carried. Well, it's the same thing there.
But it's different because it's a public hearing and the notes are written down. It's different.
Let's go with Sunny's, Stills. June 25th, public hearing. Need a motion there? Alana, second by Troy. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay? Carries.
So we've been working on these two solar projects for quite some period of time. And we did have a public hearing yesterday. The town supervisor, John Houghton, was there, which was excellent that he attended. He does work the night shift. To have him attend was a big to do because, you know, that's his sleep time. But we did have one interesting individual there. Asked a question and we said, you know, our minutes are really, or our public hearing is to take your comments. So we did. And then John Houghton tried to explain to her something and she called him a liar. And so I thought it was good. I just thought I'd share that with Sean.
Okay, item 5, financial reports, pages 15 through 21 in the packet. Comment on that before John goes this. Right?
The only thing you're gonna see once again is our property maintenance is up higher. We do have a lot going on with the different parks and getting everything in order and continually keeping them up to date for the marketing and selling of those parks. So everything looks good there. Everywhere else, we're fine. We have some more operating or some more administration for these coming in very shortly. Did we get the drawdown, the second drawdown for the county?
We
yet?
have not.
When should we have get?
July.
July.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Any comments, John?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, need a motion to accept the financials as presented. And second floor discussion. In favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, carried. Let's go item 6, the county fairs grant, number 222, Victoria.
So the final drawdown for the CARES grant has been processed and received, and that check is in process to be distributed to CTM today, actually. So we will be working to close that grant out and do any final reporting requirements required by the state.
I have a couple. So the CARES Act that we did through the money that we received from New York State, that was pretty much one of the most difficult grants that we had to process through. There was a lot of interaction with the state and a lot of back and forth. So we did not look to move that forward and do any other type of money with that process. However, we are working towards a micro enterprise grant, which we'll talk about later, that'll help out the small businesses again. So we don't want to leave them behind and dry. And then through the 222, how much do we have left?
About $1,300,
Okay.
but all payments are being made accordingly to the ACH, so we get those automatically into our account.
So we might be able to help somebody again soon. We
Potentially,
can't, yeah, we can't take our own money and put it into that. That's the problem. So I don't know how we eventually shut that out. I mean, it's gonna be one that goes on for a long time. But we don't report it anymore.
no, we do not.
Yeah, so we'll just keep maintaining that. So you'll see this category probably go away and we'll mention the 222 when we get enough money in there again, Victoria. So that doesn't need to be still, talk about every meeting.
Certainly.
But if anybody has anybody interested in that grant program, just let us know. Actually, let Victoria or Jen know and then they'll follow up. Thank you.
Well, that's also, Dave took new pictures of people. So
He did what I couldn't hear.
he took new pictures of people. As you can see. So I made a spec sheet for Four Corners in Skylar. It's 78 acres, 76. Yeah. And then Joe made a SWOT analysis
Can you hand out that one before we move forward?
right now.
Yeah. So this will help us market the site of the new, and we're not married to Four Corners, by the way, but we had to come up with something. And no. Yeah.
Sorry.
So we spelled out four instead of just, using the letter four. But she actually, it's not Photoshop, but similar, took out the house and barn, so you can see it in there. Because that'll be taken down. We've already talked to quite a few about the property, so. I know we don't have on the agenda, Tony, about it, and Aaron's gonna go back to something else, but both of the prospective purchasers have received their contracts.
Correct. I spoke with counsel, Rose yesterday, and he was meeting with his client this afternoon,
Giuliano or the
the other one.
okay, you just stated.
And I'm expecting a kind of copy of the signed contract. He said there were a couple changes, he would want to elaborate, said nothing to do with the price or anything substantive. But we should have that one back through the online. Nothing on it, nothing contacted by council.
Okay, if you could reach out to his counsel, or don't you?
I don't have, the
Did we give him Giuliano's counsel?
I gave you the information. I'm not sure it was related to me.
Please forward that on the Tony. I thought I did, but, yeah, because I saw him when we were at the site with some engineers and, he mentioned that he was talking with his attorney about it and a couple things.
These are parts of it.
Yeah, we moved by one with them too.
John, is this live now or are we using this? Or
Yeah.
is this just for internal purposes?
No, we'll send it, it'll go on our website. If you see anything you'd like to change, let us know.
You know, I guess for the, you have to wait for the agreement.
Yeah. I'm not gonna wait, why? I didn't wait at the other property, we sold two of them before.
Yeah, once we sign paperwork, when will you start prepping the property?
we've already started doing a lot of things prior to. Because we didn't want to buy it if there was, you know, some type of, former village not there, or, you know, anything to do with it. And we checked it already out for environmental, we did find a tank, but it's not an issue. We have to get going on getting the property changed to land development. But that shouldn't be much of an issue either. And, we're working, we'll have some discussions about some engineering firms that I'd like to work with on this property.
He's taking care of,
Well, unless he has something different that we don't know about, but that was part of the
He's
deal.
that's supposed to be removed.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't like for a moment.
Yeah, there's a tenant.
There's a house there. The house.
Yeah, we blocked out the house on it. You don't see it, but there's actually a house and a barn and all of that. They haven't used the barn. or gas.
And I think that's one of the proposals coming back to make sure that he can take the income from, 30, 60 days before closing.
Oh,
I know that's right.
All right.
He seems to believe they will. He didn't seem to think that they have a problem. They have a new lease that they didn't sign and they didn't give them a new lease. And they know that it's sold.
We'll give him something about that. Right. But under the new rules, we need to put how long that it's been there. It might be held up to 90 days.
I mean, you know, the risk, I don't know this, anything, but the worst case scenario, and
I think that's the minimus risk in the grand scheme of getting it.
That's gonna be in the front of the park. We'll be looking at the whole thing. Yeah, they'll. I wouldn't stay there.
Those are in the park.
So just build a fence around. That's what he wanted.
Aaron, anything else?
So I finished the newsletter. It's gonna be quarterly, so this is technically the second quarter, but it will be sent out today or tomorrow.
Let's get sent out to everybody.
We have a new package. Well, it's not new. It's new to us, constant contact. So that's what we're utilizing to get that out to everybody. And to tie it in with Gold Mine, which we use as our database for our customers and all our clients and everybody. It's a little quirky to have to do it. And Terry, our computer guy, used to do that, so he's coming in this afternoon. To also help us with our smart board that we had some issues with the start, but now it seems to be okay. And Terry will come in and load everything up on there, so we'll be all set with that as well. We're good.
Yes, I also redid our business cards. That's what the design is.
The front and the back. You can see in the top up there, that's dual fold, pretty cool, gives us that brown field look, and then we tied in with Cornell, one of our outstanding partners. Oh, here, how are you? And then we added the QR code. Cool. Everybody needs business cards, let us know, please.
All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here, I guess. Number 8, Sunny Flat Hill Solar LLC. We have to finalize the authorizing resolution. Looking with packet 22 to 29. Discussion there.
It'll be a while before we close. They go.
It might be a while before we close, but it's gonna be, this is, okay. But we took care of the other two at the last meeting, that's right. Okay, so this is the final resolution. Okay.
Need a motion to accept that. And second, Tory, discussion. Okay, Brian, any opposed, nay, carried. Number 9, Mercer County BOA. Boa.
You know, really. All right, I'll make a note,
Page
tell the
30.
state, Jimmy wants to change the BOA term.
Noted.
The state.
Let's go.
What does that mean? That's a brownfield opportunity area assessment grant. What they did now is Department of State changed it that we can do a county-wide one. We would really like to do that to take a look at all of the brownfields around the county. We're gonna ask for $500,000. It's a 10% contribution. We do have money to supply with that. We're working now with a couple of different consultants to get us the body of the grant. This is due the end of July, so we would like a resolution that states that the board is in favor of us moving ahead with it.
Would Herkimer's roll into this or?
No, they're separate.
Started, yeah.
Well, it hasn't really started yet, which brings up a good point. We got the letter that said it was okay. But I talked to our representative of the Department of State yesterday, and he said we would get the authorizing letter hopefully next week. So then that'll move ahead, but we'll bring all of that data into this. So we won't have to do additional work there in that area that we decided. Now, there's still South Main Street. There's still some other areas that we can look at too, but this will be more on the county-wide, and Main Street doesn't necessarily mean Main Street too. You know, there's no real Main Street in Millington. So, you know, you look at Central Ave, or you can look at, you know, well, there's a little Main Street there with the liquor stores and stuff, but I mean, we're gonna take a look at the entire county.
The motion. Before we go. Tim Day, second by any discussion. Good, aye. Aye. Opposed, no, carried. Item number 10, the CA. Architects,
What does FCBP mean?
I don't know, John, but you're gonna tell us.
Four Corners Business Park, Mr. Bono. So as most of you might be aware of, and I will tell it if Delta was sitting here at the table with us. We've been, they're overwhelmed at Delta. They haven't been able to add other people on. And we need to get better support. So this is one of the groups that I've interviewed, BCA. They've sent in a proposal. I'm waiting for a proposal from what's the name of that company? Environmental. EDR. Thanks, Victoria. I'm waiting for a proposal from EDR, and then I'll be back to you both on this. I don't want to take action on this today until we get the other one back from them. Both of them seem okay. BCA, I probably talked to 5 other engineering firms, and these were really one of the only few that got back to me after we went around and talked. They must all be too busy. I can't understand it. We pay our bills. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Have we dealt with BCA?
No.
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 Um,
Have I talked to people that have? Yes. Many. Doing some big projects up in Watertown now, doing some big projects down in Ithaca, some out in Albany. Lewis County used them for some things.
So for
And they got back to me. That's a big bonus in my opinion.
$91,500.
Well, we're not gonna vote on it. No, I don't want to today. I want to get another proposal back. Well, one more. I've asked several. And then
So
we-
FYI,
Yeah, so it's gonna be roughly around that to do these other items that we need to have done at the Skylar Business Park. Some wetland delineation, you know, look at the species. There's no real waterway on ours, but we're cutting it off. The stream will be on a different one. Zoning board, but I think we're gonna handle that anyways. Electric service, they'll talk to National Grid. The water will be dealing with the Mohawk Valley Water Authority. Natural gas, again, the National Grid. Survey and all of that, we're gonna do it surveys. Next week, early next week. I'm hoping. Yeah, so early next week, and we'll have that done by Mike Emrich. We already did the SHPO, we already did the environmental, the seeker part of it's been done. Just by the town, the district, the impact study, we have most of that data anyways. And that's that. So these are pretty much the rest thing. You know, we'll need perk testing for the septic systems there, which we don't see will be a problem. And we also need to do a little bit of geotech to take a look at how the compaction rate of the soils for structure. Even though somebody buys it, they'll come in and do their own, we still need to do it to start. Getting drillers now are very difficult as well.
All right, so FYI, stand by.
FYI, stand by.
Okay, Eastern Mohawk Valley Water Transmission Line, there's some discussion here. John,
I've gone to executive session.
you want, okay, go to executive session with that. Item 12, CBGB grant, countywide.
What does CBDG stand for, Jim?
Something blocked.
We all like Mr. Ball.
50,000.
So this is in conjunction with the county. The county did scheduled a public hearing for this. We will be the administrator of the project. So we're looking just for a support grant right now. A support resolution right now to state that we're in favor of being the administrator for this. We just want to cross all our T's and dot all of our I's. We'll set up a subsidiary agreement with them to manage the grant.
Questions? Motion, please. Yeah, second, Corey. Discussion. Favor aye. Any opposed, nays?
One other thing on that, I am gonna reach out to Oneida County and to James Genovese too, because they're doing one over there now with Oneida County, and I'd like to see who they're using for a consultant and what they're doing. Maybe we can tie into that as well. This grant will allow us to hire a consultant, so if we can piggyback with theirs and get more of a product, it's better to do that, just so you know.
Thank you for the motion there.
Nope.
Number 14, Scarborough.
Nope, we jumped over the thing. So that's okay.
I'm sorry. CDBG, my back.
What does CDBG stand for?
Development Fund.
Well, they're CBDG.
I call it
Wow.
Oh, we got a little typo in there.
All right. Hi, Paul.
We're gonna have to work till 4 today.
No.
No. He does. How's that DBGB grant going? Great.
Okay, where did that go on?
So now we can apply. Last time only 200,000. They raised it to 300,000. This is on the revolving basis, but I think we're gonna be able to get this in ahead of time. We had to pre-apply for this and they gave us the green light. Once again, this has to go through the county. And we'll be the sub-recipient holder on this, but we want a resolution stating that the board is in favor of us moving ahead with the application and going after the 300,000. This is similar to the money we had before the CARES money. So
Is that up to 30,000 per application?
We haven't made
Or was that-
those, we haven't selected that.
So what we will do though is once we have to put the application further along, we will send out to the loan committee. Yeah, who sits on that, by the way? You too? Okay, so you'll all see it. Input's important. We will give you a timeline on when we need to have something back by, only because it's driven by a timeline.
Is this the same source of funding from the board?
Yes, as the previous one, not the CARES,
Right.
the one previous to that, yeah. And we work great with housing and community renewal, so we're excited to work with them again.
So what's the difference in the scope of work to administer this DDPG out
Compared to the
aside
CARES one,
aside of the CARES?
there was a lot more documentation that needed to be there for the CARES money. We also, we could open that one up to larger groups. This is the micro enterprise, only up to 5.
5 or fewer employees.
So it's a smaller group than that size. So-
Okay.
But we don't think we'll have a problem helping people out with that.
Any other kinds of questions? Need a motion to go ahead forward? John's done, second by Ann. Discussion. Favor aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. All right, let's move to the 14th. Scarborough, start the gas and electric. Okay?
So this is a new grant program that came out this year to get your parks ready. 2 things that we need to apply for here will be the water tower, additional water tower needed in the Skylar Park, and the new entrance in the Skylar Business Park. The 2 people that are on the selection committee for the state for the Fast New York is Christy Schwepke and David Whipple, who we've worked with both of them many times, so we're very excited. We've also been told too that they've only received 6 complete applications. Because it is like filling out a manifesto, I'm going to just shrink the world. So we have our first round of everything done. Aaron's put together a great presentation. We have to put together a slideshow form as well. And then we have the application that's like 150 pages long. And we've been working with our consultants through the county on that and Western Strategic Development. But last night I reviewed more of it and we need to change a few things, but I'm hoping that we put that in on Friday. We just want a resolution in support. We're asking for the entire amount, which is like 4 point something million. I don't have that new number. We had to change some of the number for the water tank. So that'll include the entrance, getting a stoplight, widening the entrances. And then also putting in that water tower, that'll be good support for the entire park and everything that's going on.
Great. Questions?
For the entrance, do we have a estimated cost?
Yes,
For
we
that
do.
light? So we
Yeah,
can-
probably about $800,000 to move the road a little bit. To move the poles, the light poles, to put up the light. It's a 3-way stop light. And yeah, we should be good.
Any questions further? Corey, second, Alana, discussion. In favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carried. Item 15, 240 Mary Street.
I'd like to move this into executive session too, since it's discussion and property.
16 LDC Brownfield properties, yeah.
So Mr. Halleck gave me a reference note on buying property. And what some of the limitations are with the IDA. One of the cases he referenced actually was done by another attorney of ours. So I reached out to that attorney too. And I think those are all, and I'm not a lawyer by any means. I might play one on TV every now and then. But I think that we need to have some further discussions on what we can do as far as forming an LDC, not to do the bonding like we need to do with Valley Health Services, but form an LDC that would benefit not only us, but the communities on being able to acquire some of these brownfields to do different things with. So I think that's a different thing than what we originally talked about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not a lawyer, you know? So I think what we're gonna do, and I didn't want to have Chuck on today. I know Shannon's on already, but I didn't want to have Chuck on today to go through it. I wanted you all to be prepared, and I think we need to set up like a workshop and understanding what that would mean. So I'll let everybody know that. No, the LDC could move ahead. All we would need for this LDC though, would be to ask the county for permission for us to form it. It wouldn't be the same LDC where we would need to go to bonding. We would have to form a separate LDC to go to bonding for that assisted living, for any type of civic project. This would not be a civic project. So this would allow us to incorporate more brownfields like the Masonic, like Bill's School, like any one of those that we would want to help take over and market and sell. It would be this board. Be the same board, be very transparent the way we would do it. So we'd have this meeting, we would close this meeting, then we would open up the LDC.
Those board members have chosen
If
that.
they approve us as an LDC, that we could form this LDC, it would be the same board that we have here. So if the board changes in any way that they leave, and the county always appoints our board. But by IDA statute, that's all the county does is appoint our board. If they don't like what we're doing, they can remove all of you. They can't hire or fire me, that's your all position. Or they can't dictate policy or the way that we work, but they can remove anybody on this board they want to replace. Or decide that they want to put a whole new board in place. So I think the LDC eliminate any liability on the county side, which should always be the forefront of anything that they do. and then allow us to do these things, however, not bond, which I think is great that we keep that separate anyways. So that would allow them to do that. Pardon?
When Jimmy and I talked about this a number of years ago, and Rob Maloney was the county attorney. Shooting
Well,
the idea down, but was that a new administration?
But it's not even, this is a separate one. They're not gonna be involved with this LDC. That LDC is the one that they'd be involved with if we were gonna get into the bonding side of stuff. Hey, John. So I think that that's what we have to look at there. So we're gonna have some type of meeting coming up and we'll go over that soon. No, but I just want you to be aware, and please ask any other questions that you have. I don't think we should move ahead until actually we have like a conversation with Tony and Chuck and the board, you know.
It does require very strict administration of it, correct?
It's the same rules that we follow as the IDA, so we'll be doing ABO reporting there as well.
You just have to be careful of when we spend time on
No,
LDC items
No.
versus IDA
no,
items.
no, because we'll be the administrator of that LDC, just like we do everything, and we'll just keep track of our hours.
Keep track of.
Just like we do for every, like,
Every
yeah, pretty much. Anything EPA related, we have to keep track of our hours. We're like an attorney firm. I mean, that's what we do. And you should see, we have this one folder that we all write in there when we discuss the projects, and we have to bundle those hours. So it's no different. It's not like, we'll be the administrator of it. So same. It's different than the LDC that will form with the county. The one will form with the county will be able to give us that right to bond. And the bonding will help us with doing the civic project, like if Valley Health Services move ahead. We don't really have private colleges here. We do have a charter school. With that charter school, we could help them do that too. If Little Falls Hospital wanted to, had a big project in place and they wanted us to help them with the bonding, because it's better than going through dormitory authority or some other agencies to get that bonding going. We could help with that as well. But that, we couldn't help with it. That would be part of the other LDC, which is on the, it's close to being filed. We can move ahead with it. But we're not gonna waste our time with that until we have projects for that. Or this would be separate, you know, or CRC, LDC, all the same. Yeah.
You mentioned that, we serve legislators. Do they ever ask you, or quiz you about the board, and the individuals on the board, or in other words, you didn't appoint us, but if you were unhappy, or they were unhappy, you ever have a meeting and update, and your review of the board or anything like that?
I have to be honest, they have never once asked me if I'm happy or not. So, I mean, that's okay. I mean,
Stevens right there.
yeah, I got it. Feelings don't come into play, or even personal recommendations.
They approved me years ago.
Yeah.
Do they still think the same thing? That's all I'm asking.
I think they're indifferent to it all. They, you
Do we
know,
review you, hey, do they ever ask or review us as a board? You can't make a decision without us.
that's exactly. No, that is
Just a
correct.
thought.
That's why that's part of the statute is that they can replace you at will,
Right.
you know, and there are no term limits on our board. So they can say,
That's what I was gonna get to. Let's say tomorrow is round is done. Why? Did I get a notice? We were happy with me? Did I change something?
no.
No. I know that's.
I can say that there's never been any personal, any board member.
Okay.
They do bring up one board member every now and then. Usually when we're out afterwards. But no, they, no, and the ledge really has been very good to work with as far as, and they ask questions. And I have no problem. I think it's great that they ask the questions. It's just, yeah, that's okay. Jimmy. I think it's just that, you know, they want to know what's going on, and we have more activity than we've ever had. So it's just something that they have to try to keep maintaining. But no, they haven't. They've never said, how is this one board doing, or a board member over another one? when seats are open, they'll say, who do you recommend? And I say, well, can't recommend anybody, but here's people that have showed some interest in it. Then it goes through the process. And then planning and development is the committee there that oversees us. They pick somebody, then it goes to the whole board to be voted. But, we're doing so well, for them to make any changes now wouldn't really be a good thing. And then also too, I think if we ever saw any changes, we'd probably see it probably around election time or right after an election. They'd say, okay, we need to change the board or something too. I don't think you'd see it now.
All right, let's go to our last item on the agenda, Charlestown bond. Update there.
Yeah, any conversations we've been having with the EPA really can't be secret. It's all pretty much open knowledge. We've been dealing with the attorneys from the EPA, and there's about a $14 million lien on Charlestown. And the other day, I think they pretty much agreed to get rid of that lien. It was quite unique. We had some great conversation. I talked to them for about an hour the other morning, and kept going back to that purpose. So look, I can't market this if there's a $14 million lien. This isn't New York City. It's not a block. If it was a block in New York City, that I would be glad 14 million is nothing. But here it's a big to do. And we do have an opportunity there. It might not be everybody's great thought for it, but there's not a lot you can do there. The EPA only cleaned up the top portion of the property. They didn't touch the concrete or what's below the concrete. So there's been no sampling, nothing. And to get somebody in there that would dig up all of that or do any more remediation would be several million more, maybe even 14 million. So one of the options we have is to go after some alternative energy solutions there. One of them being battery storage. And not all battery storage is lithium ion. There's also this rust water new technology. But we did receive an MOU from NYSERDA, which Hodgkin Russ is looking at right now, to make that site a shovel ready, or not shovel ready, but a ready site, and more or less like a showpiece for alternative energy and storage in the state of New York. It would be something that people would come from all over to take a look at how this is done and what it's done. And by having those concrete slabs already in place that could support the structure, by making it look good, it's really right on the county line. So you really want something that's attractive to. It's not just going to be a bunch of tractor trailer beds sitting all around. But that's early in the process. There's a lot of things that have to happen to make this work. The first thing is the lien of $14 million from the EPA. And we couldn't have made it more clear. I think one of the huge benefits we had is we had the regional administrator, Lisa Garcia, here for our Brownfield conference. She came to the site. She gets on the phone with the attorneys. Then we also have a friend in Chuck Schumer, and he gets on the phone and says, let's see what we can do with that. So I think we're truly at benefit right now. I think it's a way to move forward. I know people are going to say, oh my God, battery storage, or oh my God, there's nothing else you can do with that site. No, you are correct. There's other things. But how am I going to get $14 million lien wiped away? How are we going to clean up the other site before we'd even think about taking it over? We still have to do a phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is really nothing. You can see we have all the data from the EPA. Phase 2 will be putting some holes in that concrete and seeing what's under that concrete. Well, it will depend upon, because we need it capped anyways. So you have to look at the end user. I know if we're going to plant gardens there, that's a whole nother story, but we're not. We're going to make it. So right near there is not only that New Marcy South line, but there's another 115 kV line. There's a lot of lines that can tie into this for that battery storage. And I think the uniqueness of either rust water, which is a new technology, or even if you went lithium ion, you're still out there enough that you're going to be able to contain if there is an issue or not, and not have to worry about it. So we think it's a great way to move that property forward. And, you know, it would be something similar up in DeFreet near Watertown. They're doing it with an old mill. They're working with NYSERDA, and they have an MOU in place that they're going to put that as solar and some storage up there. And the IDA is going to have the property and lease it out. So, but there'll be a lot more communication. But right now, we can't do anything until they're gonna send, EPA is gonna, this is my feeling. EPA is gonna send me a letter that says, we will waive the $14 million lien. I can't wait to see this piece of paper, too. But you have to do this. And if you don't do this, the lien goes back on. So, I mean, that makes sense to me. If you don't, but I didn't limit it to anybody. I didn't tell them, which I don't mind telling them it's NYSERDA, but I don't want it to be just, what if it's not NYSERDA? What if it's XYZ company that wants to do the same thing? I didn't want to limit it to that. And I don't have a problem saying it's going to be green energy or renewable. Because what if instead it decides it's all solar? Because what else can you do there? Truly nothing else. I mean, people will complain, and I understand, right, Jimmy? We know they're going to complain. We've been talking. Oh, no, you can't do this. You can't. Well, yeah, what else do you want to see there? Just tell us. And it's just impossible to do something else there. I mean, so I think this is a great alternative, and to get on board with a state agency like NYSERDA, to get the EPA on board. DEC has a small lien of like 80,000. We know we can get that way. We'll work with the two counties about getting rid of the taxes that are due on it. I think this is a win-win for everybody. And plus, to come into the county, if you're coming on 5S or you're going the other way, we have the state-of-the-art, renewable center that people can come to and see what's going on. I just see that in the way that the governor and the president, they're both going towards this. I mean, we don't really have much of a choice in anything else. We did talk to Central Bus because we thought it'd be a great location for bus. But once again, they're concerned about the concrete slab, and they also want their station between Rome and Utica. They want to be closer in than out, and I don't blame them on that either. So, and they would have to do a lot of work on this. Not saying they would have to do everything, but we still don't know what's in the ground. The good thing is we found out the pond is only 4 feet deep, and it's got what's the rock underneath it? It's all slate, so it doesn't have anything coming in or going out. It was a man-made. But there is a creek or river or stream, whatever you want to call it, running underneath the whole property.
You stood out there and measured it?
Yeah. I actually pushed Jimmy in and measured him. Deeper.
So you say he was drowning in there?
No, I said, there's a body, and I pushed him in because he's a rescue guy. So I just think it will be neat. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but I wanted you to all be prepared. We're having meetings, we're having a lot of conversations. The one attorney, the first call we had, no way are we getting rid of this lien. The EPA has to get some money back. And now as we keep talking to them, oh no, that is a good idea. By the end of the conversation, we went down to Albany on, I don't remember what day it was this week. What day we go? Tuesday. And Garrett was in the car with one of his coworkers, and Joe was in the car, and I had to have a conversation with the EPA. But they could see it too. At the beginning of the conversation, it was one way. By the end, I think I could get a Social Security. So, but it went well. It really did. So I think just to make that something different, and concurrently working with the developers in Ilion, if we could take 2 brownfields like that off of our list in 1 year, that would be so huge for our region and our part of the state. So we're excited to do it.
Let's move on to comments by elected officials. John Stevens.
I'd like to have like 2 minutes in exec for something if that's possible.
That is totally possible.
Okay, so very soon. Dana.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Just, you guys know if you need any letters of support for any of those grants to let our office know.
Thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Dana. Appreciate it. Yes, Senator Walczak's office. I don't see a name, but you're welcome to give a comment if you'd like.
Yeah, same with our office. If you guys need any letters of support, just please let us know.
Thank you very much. We appreciate both the senator and the assemblywoman.
And we appreciate the senator's been working towards us having a meeting with the health department to discuss wells and water systems. So if you could follow up with him to let us know when there might be an opportunity. I know he has to travel coming up, I think in August. So if we can do anything whatsoever in July, that would be great.
Yeah, he's actually going to be in drill, and I think I wanted to say he leaves next week, so he'll be back in the middle of July. But I've been working with the mayor over there as well, so I will keep in touch with you guys on that.
I'm sorry, you've been working with who?
The mayor of Dodgeville, we've been talking to.
That is something different though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this would be a separate water discussion we had with the senator as well.
Okay, and that's for,
To discuss wells for, through the health department.
okay. I will remind him of that.
Thank you all. Now let's go to project updates before we go to executive session.
Sure. Russell Farm, we went out to bid again to get the, water and sewer lines brought over. Received one bid back. We believe it was way too much money again. We can't understand it. We took down trees at Russell Farm so they could directional bore under the road. We took out a whole bunch of requirements because the county removed some of their requirements as well. We're still not getting the bids. That's not too good. That's a higher projection than what we thought. I know the cost might be turned over to the developer after, but we'd still like to keep it as low as possible.
What was the bid?
780,000, something like that. It should have been around 380 to 450. And previously, we only heard back from one too. Yeah. Does Bone Brothers have a division of directional drilling?
That is dynamite.
Can't remember. Like, well, it's a little different.
They're all busy now.
Yeah.
We just.
I don't know.
and it's
Yeah.
probably-
How big they are.
Yeah, there's so many different ones out there, and a lot of them will utilize the same driller to come in and drill. They'll be the construction company, but there's like a well box that they have to put in, and they charge like 200,000 for them. There should only be like 80,000, so we're not really sure. So our consultant's gonna reach out to them. HCIDA polo shirts and pullovers. We're gonna make another order soon. If anybody needs a golf shirt or anything. Of course, we don't give them out for free, so you have to buy your own. Would you mind standing up and showing everybody? Thanks, Tim. Yeah, wow. That's a medium right
It's the
there.
extra- it's what the extra meeting looks like.
Yeah. You fill that out beautiful. Your hair, everything matches so well, the white t-shirt. Yeah, so please let us know, because if you do want to, we want to get an order together. Skylar Business Park entrance, you get a chance to drive by. We're working on the stone now too, so it'll look fantastic. We've only heard good things about it. 5S North Business Park entrance, we met the sign guy there the other day. We're gonna keep up the posts and everything else. We're just gonna put a new face on the sign and some new cards to update that a little bit for everyone. Schumer came out with the Onshore Act. It's a new act that's gonna bring quite a few bit of dollars into the US and especially New York. I'm talking with Jennifer Waters from Empire State Development, and she heads up the Sematech nano chip, all of this high tech stuff that we're working on right now. And she agreed to come have a meeting with us. So I'd like to see who might be available for something like that. The only thing she said is I have to take her out to PK's for dinner. So it'll most likely be on a Thursday night, but a lot of companies have reached out and really are interested. And we have some prime spots for some of these businesses that not necessarily require a lot of power and a lot of infrastructure. So we're excited about that. Aquifer is something we discussed with Senator Walzak. We also had our new health department director for Herkimer County in from the state, Kate Morris, her name is, and fantastic. We had a great meeting with her. She's an aqua water engineer, and she understood, and she said that's so untapped right now. So this could, and I sent that article out to all of you on water yesterday. It's going to be key. I think we can do more with that. Child care center, we all agreed in the past to support that. We're running into a couple hurdles with the county. I have a meeting there tomorrow night at 4:15. If any of you would like to attend with me, you're more than welcome. They have some questions about the IDA and what it is. It's not a grant. We're using administrative money that we receive from our projects to help support that project. But any of you are more than welcome to attend that as well. It'll be at the county building at 4:15.
You said there's questions?
Yeah, they have questions. Well, I think it's gonna blossom into some more things from all that I'm hearing too. So I think it's good if any of you do want to come and listen to hear their questions.
They want to help you make adjustments. to the plans as we progress forward. And another question was,
Someone told them it was grant money.
if it was
It's
site,
not grant.
if it was site specific. So if we took, and it, you know, you could take that plan and move it anywhere, pretty much.
It's a flat,
If you
not
wanted
pretty
to.
much, you definitely could. It's
You
built
could,
on.
you could. So that question could be answered very
But
simply.
why did they think it was grant money? I don't know. And it's not grant money at all. It's our administrative money. We never applied for the grant for that or anything, so I'm not really sure where that came from. And I think they had some additional questions because they had other people that were in the audience when they were asking these things. So I think it's good that they have a better understanding of what their IDA does.
Just a little bit more, but I can go to.
Remember our emails on that? Remind me why did we offer to do any? And of those, that's the build, remember that email, the design and build. Why
Design,
did
so we've
we
only done the
offer to
design
Do that.
because they were not moving ahead with the project. They had a lot of grant opportunities and we could do it a lot faster than they could. It's also for economic development purposes too. We get a lot of questions from developers. What do you have in the area for this? Someone, you know, Jim's been out and other people in the county have been told him the state-of-the-art childcare center. If we could tie that in to help us attract more jobs and more people, that's a great thing. So it really does tie into us. What we did say though is, so the design is already done. Right? So what we did say though, if you want us to put together the building drawings, which could be $40,000-$50,000. If you don't build it within 2 years, we want our money back because we're not just chasing after bad things here. And then if you change the design, like it's built like an H almost, okay? If you change it to remove one thing and just keep one, we want our money back too. We're making big changes here. Not changing an outlet, not redesigning a room bigger or smaller, not changing colors, but changing the whole outlook of the building. Yeah, that's not the same thing. You're gonna have to go to redesign. We want our money back. Yeah.
So was all that established at the onset?
We told them all that, but they didn't quite understand it all at first. Once again, you know, you have 17 individuals in that room, everybody's talking at the same time. So that's the problem.
I mean, as long as we can say, here it is in the beginning where we offered to do this design, subject to you agreeing to this, this, and this, I don't see why that's an issue.
We had that conversation when I
And
was
it's in the
there.
minutes.
The legislature doesn't take minutes and they
So
don't
much
record.
committee level, you know, like the multiple those minutes, but.
They don't take minutes, they don't record. It's.
I just mean, I
record
can see
both.
where that
We
would
record the vote.
cause
Or-
an issue where they say, well, we
Or the
tell us this.
No, but we have individuals on the county ledge saying, well, if you move an outlet, we gotta pay you back. I said, come on, that's not the spirit of what we agreed to do for you.
I guess it's just probably best practice to be as technical as possible at the onset so that they all.
It was all discussed, but they didn't, nobody, you ask for that stuff, you'll never get it. They don't take notes, because then they'll be held responsible. But you're more than welcome to attend, 4:15 at the county. I have nothing. We should go into executive session for
Talk about,
land acquisition, leasing,
Contracts. that we have,
contracts.
negotiated. So John, Stephen, you want to stay?
I'll make the motion.
And our Shannon, Shannon can stay and Dana and Sam. Right, thank you for your time and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, Gary, you have to go to.
Have a good day.
You too.
Just,